it's sunny down in Mexico. The sun gets high when I get low. The only way to get there is to let yourself go. Good times are made in Mexico.
I took a screenshot of this because I wanted to talk about other resorts, because this was posted in a Dream Secrets Playa Mujeres group, and someone asked, did anyone's guests have any issues making reservations for restaurants outside of wedding stuff? We have guests coming in day before our wedding, and we are doing our welcome party at the lobby bar, and we only have an intimate rehearsal dinner with our immediate family, and everyone else will need to eat beforehand. Will the guests coming in the same day have issues making reservations for an actual restaurant, or will they get stuck having to eat the buffet? Which Dreams and Secrets resorts, restaurants aren't required, so it won't be an issue for them. What would your advice be for wedding groups that are going to resorts that do require reservations?
Some resorts allow you to make reservations beforehand through their system, and some don't. So if you're at a resort that doesn't allow you to make reservations until you arrive, you're just taking the luck of the draw. Basically, I would just show up at the restaurants and just try to get a table. A lot of times as well, there's many resorts where even though they say, hey, reservations are recommended, you can still show up and see if they can seat you as well. And I think,
well, the Dreams and Secrets, they don't even allow reservations. I think that's like almost the most ideal setup, especially for people that are arriving in like day of, because how are they supposed to make a reservation if it is required? If they're getting there at 5 p.m., then they are SOL, which is not great when you're going to an all-inclusive resort where it's promoted free food, free drinks, and then it's like, nope, you actually don't get to eat at all. I feel like this question is so hard to think of broad spectrum because every resort has different rules in what they'll do, because like some resorts will allow you to create reservations 30 days before you travel, some a week before travel, some you have to actually be at the resort. So that's also a nice aspect of like having a travel agent who knows the ins and outs of resorts too, who can highly recommend you.
I wish every resort would go to the policy of what Dreams and Secrets are doing.
Same.
No reservations taken, no reservations allowed. Right? Unless you're going to do one of those, like the private rooms where you're doing a upgraded service level thing, one of the chef's table things. But other than that, no, just show up and eat. And that's the way it should be everywhere at all times, because it just is simplest for everybody.
That is the way it should be. And especially at all-inclusives too, like, yeah, your day might be planned out, but something might happen where you're not going to make that reservation. So it's nice to be able to just walk up and go where you want to go.
Yeah. And who wants to be like on a schedule on
Right.
vacation? Like,
Yeah.
I want to just be like, whatever, I'm going to go over here and eat, you know? I got really mad at one place recently where I showed up to, two people had a reservation that I was traveling with. They showed up and I said, hey, I'm just going to horn in on your dinner and join you guys. And so we show up and there's a bunch of empty tables around, empty tables for 4 people. And they literally told us, no, you can't join them. We don't have enough room.
See, that's insane, because it was even like you were adding 5 people where you'd need to bring like an extra table or something like that. Literally just another person.
They need to be able to think outside the box. They think so corporate and so policy.
Well, let's go to my next question then. Tina asked, newly engaged and looking into a destination wedding. We're hoping possibly for this spring and leaning towards Punta Cana. Is that even possible to do in such a close time frame? I don't even know where to start.
Doing something that quick turnaround time is possible. It's not in normal terms, and you need to be prepared for that. A lot of it depends on the size of your group. If you're going to do contract, or if you're going to do what we call a promo code group booking, a normal contract term where we have time, it's $100 per room deposit, and then have up until X date to make your reservations, 4 to 6 months out before the wedding date. But since we're in that range, they can't do a $100 room deposit. They have to do a bigger deposit. And it's going to be non-refundable even if they cancel those rooms. You have to be a lot more strategic about the room block and only holding rooms that you're going to sell, because you're going to be responsible for those rooms even if they don't sell, or a certain percentage of them. So it changes the whole process.
She is looking at spring. Would you possibly recommend someone contracting the minimum amount of rooms and then trying and adding them on as reservations come in, just so they wouldn't be responsible if they had unsold rooms?
That's almost the exact conversation I had with this client.
Okay.
How many people do you expect? And she was only expecting like 20 people. So she was only expecting 10 rooms. Group minimum was 8 rooms. So we decided to go ahead and block 8 and let's get those 8 rooms booked and then add on if need be. But you run the risk of obviously the resort being sold out. As long as you're flexible in the date, the resort has availability.
The shortest time frame I did was like at right about 6 months. And what we did, we had to contract the higher end rooms because that's pretty much all that was available. And then I want to say like 3-4 weeks later, someone had to have released inventory because then we were able to swap for the lowest end category rooms and it ended up working out for them.
Probably a group inventory that was held that was released back unsold.
Yep.
So you get that rush back of rooms that are unsold. We make it work.
I have one more. It's also for Dreams and Secrets Playa Mujeres. Rachel asked, has anyone used the Paramount or Presidential Suite? My fiance and I are very drawn to them. We would like the idea of a small and intimate dinner reception. Would love to hear people's firsthand experiences, more worried about there being one bathroom. And to add to that, I just want to hear your thoughts on if space like that is worth paying. Well, like that space specifically, you have to spend 2 nights there, but then you have to pay the venue fee on top of that. Do you think that's worth it? Or do you think there could be other smaller, more intimate spaces around the resort that could also be used?
The Mermaid Cove or Mermaid Terrace is a smaller, more intimate area as well. I've done weddings in Presidential Suite and I've done weddings in the Paramount Suite. I love the Paramount Suite. I thought it was great. I think you can have a really nice wedding up there. Yes, it requires 2 nights to be in that room, which is much more reasonably priced than the Presidential. The Presidential is extremely expensive.
I personally love the idea of Paramount Presidential Suite and getting like almost rooftop-y vibes, and it's also way more intimate, private. And I remember when we were at Bahia Mita, we were so far away from it, but just looking at that one setup, I think it was in their Paramount Suite over there, I was like, I love that. And that was probably one of my favorite venue locations of that entire resort.
Yeah, I think the Paramount Suite at Dreams Playa gives you more of that type of roof type feel compared to the Presidential, where it's more like a terrace that's right outside the room. Yeah, I think that gives a better feel. If it were me, I'd probably pick Paramount Suite, obviously for pricing being a major consideration there as well, just because it definitely will cost less than the Presidential.
Would you choose Paramount Suite over like a free venue?
I would do ceremony on the beach. I do Mermaid Terrace reception. And the reason why is because I'm thinking of the group size. For larger groups, I love the Central Garden.
Well, that's a paid venue too.
Oh, yeah, and it's also minimum number of guests required as well. But for a small group, it's awkward.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's just way too big of a space. The other thing about going to the Paramount Suite is that logistically, it brings up the challenge of, do you move rooms or do you stay in the Paramount Suite for your whole stay?
That would start to get expensive.
You have to stay 2 nights. So what do, Julia? You have to stay 2 nights in the Paramount Suite. You have to stay the night before the wedding and the night of the wedding.
That's exactly what I do. And then I'd switch room categories. I guess I would probably arrive. Maybe I would do 2 days beforehand, both of those nights in the Paramount Suite. So technically an extra night that's unnecessary. So 3 nights in there.
3 nights. Yeah, that's what I
And then after the night of the wedding, move to a different category for like the next few nights or a couple nights.
Yeah. Or you consider moving to another resort.
Yeah, honestly, I would probably do that.
I'm a big fan of doing that. All right, we'll see you next time. Lunchtime Live, Friday at 1.
Sunny down in Mexico, the sun gets high.